In this episode, we're going to talk about the love story of Zhu Bajie and Violet Spider, how they met, what they've been through, and most importantly, why they can't be together. If you need a rewind on characters, check out my Who's Who guide, link in the description. Now let's jump right in. In the highest sky above the Jade Pool, the Queen Mother of the West was hosting an internal gathering as a rehearsal for the Grand Peach Banquet, which management from both factions are invited. Back then, Zhu Bajie was still Admiral Tianpeng, who guards the Celestial River. As a military man, Tianpeng rarely had the opportunity to attend such a high-profile social occasion. His vanity was satisfied by the handwritten invitation from the Queen Mother, especially after he observed how Admiral Curtainriser was treated if without one. But little did he know, Curtainriser was about to be his fellow apprentice on the journey to the west. Because of his better sport, Tianpeng was able to take a good look at the performing celestial maidens. For the first time, he could see them so closely, and he was fascinated by the lead dancer with silver hair. A celestial maiden in violet gold dress approached Tianpeng. "Admiral," she softly called, holding an exquisite cup of wine with both of her hands. Tianpeng took the cup, yet his gaze never left the lead dancer. And that was Bajie and Violet's first met. Clearly back then the love was one way. Violet had a crush on Tianpeng, but Tianpeng was fixated on the lead dancer. Now the question becomes, who's the lead dancer, and what about this guy? Their identities caused a heated debate among Chinese players. The most convincing guess is that they are Jade Moon Rabbit and Gold Sun Crow from the Curios, where the rabbit serves Lord of Luna and Crow serves Queen Mother. I'll explain later cause it involves different legends. Before talking about Bajie and Violet's reunion, we need to explain why they were cast out of the Celestial Court. The cutscene tells us that Bajie bumped into Rabbit and Crow's secret date. Now, office romance is by principle discouraged within Taoism faction. The Supreme Inspector not only turned a blind eye on them, but instead accused Bajie for taking liberties with the rabbit and got him cast down into a pig. That's why Bajie calls the inspector a slanderer in chapter 6.
你这高黑状的沙才，我不去找你就罢了，你倒敢来找我！
The plot thickens from here cause why the Supreme Inspector framed Bajie, and most importantly, how the heck did he know about this incident in the first place? The only possible answer is that he's secretly working for Queen Mother, but at the behest of Jade Emperor cause he was later rewarded as the Emperor's right-hand man. For Violet, some say she followed Bajie and left willingly to find him in the mortal realm, but me personally think she's also cast out after the Peach Banquet. I'll explain who she is and how she ends up in the next video. For now, let's just call her Violet Spider of Webbed Hollow. As the West Journey band passing Webbed Hollow, Tang Monk was caught by the spiders. When Bajie learned that the Yaoguais are female, he volunteered to find the spiders and found them bathing. He quickly recognized an old acquaintance, turned into a catfish, and did some adult things with her which we won't elaborate. Knowing they were no match to Wukong, the 7 spiders turned to Hundred-Eyed Taoist Master for help. Hundred-Eyed knew that consuming Tang Monk could grant him immortality, so he agreed to join the fight. Wukong then focused on Hundred-Eyed cause he's a greater threat and left the spiders to Bajie. Following Wukong's command, Bajie struck down all the spiders but Violet. Remembering their brief affair in the water, he hesitated and, with a final thrust of his rake into the ground, told her to flee for her life. That was how their love sparked in a most unfortunate circumstance. Bajie finally responded to Violet's love after everything, since in the sky, then in the mortal realm. But it was more of a familiarity breeds fondness kind of love, instead of Violet's love on the first sight. Fast forward to present time, Bajie joined our quest to find Wukong's relics, and once again back to Webbed Hollow. Reaching village of Lanxi, Bajie lamented, "This place still looks the same," with bitterness in his voice, which the English dub didn't capture.
这里还和从前一样，一点儿没变。
When controlled by the Weaver's Needle, he outspoke his true desire was to stay with Violet. But when he is himself, all the words came out of his mouth were cold and cruel, not only towards Violet, but also his first met child. Why is his heart not in his mouth? Well, the answer is hidden yet right in our face. Just look at all the victims in each chapter. Bodhisattva Lingji, headless. Kangjin Star, brainwashed. Dusk Veil, twisted. Bodhisattva Pilanpo, hands chopped. Zodiacs, exiled. Wukong's whole family shattered. All of them helped Wukong on the journey to the west. The whole thing was clearly a premeditated purge against Wukong, his friends, and possible allies. Being his fellow apprentice and sworn brother, Bajie knew he's in imminent and dire threat. It would be unwise to admit his love or reunite with his family because those people behind the purge could came for his family. Violet understood the dilemma Bajie is facing, so she didn't blame him for the words he didn't mean. But admits or not, his family have already been held hostage and imprisoned in Webbed Hollow. Wei player as the Destined One torn down the purple seals may eventually set them free. Now since we finished the whole tragic love story, I'm going to tell you a bonus legend as promised in section 1. So in Journey to the West, Bajie was cast out because he got drunk on the peach banquet, took liberties with Chang'e and smashed a celestial palace. Because of this backstory in the novel, most people at first guessed the maiden was Chang'e. In Chinese mythology, Chang'e was married to Hou Yi, a legendary archer. Legend says that there once were 10 sun crows in the sky that burned everything on earth. Hou Yi climbed to the peak of Mount Kunlun and shot down 9 of them, then told the last to show up on schedule every day, which created sunrise and sundown. Because Mount Kunlun is Queen Mother's residence, she noticed Hou Yi's good deed and rewarded him with 1 pill of immortality. I guess she did it on purpose, giving only 1 pill to a married man. Because the sun crows Hou Yi shot down used to be her messengers, and she can't blame him for saving the mortals, at least not publicly. Hou Yi didn't want to be among the gods without his wife Chang'e, so he put away the pill and decided to teach archery for a living. Somehow, one of his pupils learned about the pill and threatened Chang'e for it by force while Hou Yi was away teaching. Chang'e didn't want the pill to fall into the wrong hands, so she herself took the pill when the evil pupil was about to find it. Because of its power, Chang'e ascended to the moon and became a celestial maiden. But if she's Chang'e, there won't be a match for this male figure, since Hou Yi had no more pills for himself to ascend. Some lore enthusiasts guessed Lord of Luna because he was present in Bajie's journal, and it was Lord of Luna who set up Bajie because Bajie bumped into their affair. But I think it's too far a stretch and doesn't have a reasonable basis. As for the moon rabbit, it's based on the interpretation that identified the dark markings on the moon as a rabbit, pounding with a mortar and pestle. You can find Chang'e and Jade Rabbit Yu Tu in the Chinese Lunar Exploration Program, where the lander is named Chang'e and the rover is named Yu Tu. I have to admit, Game Science did a really good job on the adaptation. Not only did they explain themselves perfectly, they also left room for imagination. It's quite satisfying for people who is familiar with Chinese classics to explore. But for those who are not so familiar with Chinese stuff, not to worry, you still have me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want more deep dive videos like this, please like, subscribe and leave a comment so it can reach to more Black Myth Wukong fans like us. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.